So we are here with Kites and Lightning, Colorado band, and as you know, I'm Robert Frezza, and this is for Modern Frequency. Let's get started. How did the band meet? How did you guys get together as a collective?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the band leader and the driving force, but a couple of the members were in previous bands with me.
Mhm.
So we formed in 2023 for this most recent configuration, and the drummer and our lead guitarist had played with me in a couple past bands. It's funny, Michaela and I met on an app called Bandmix, which is kind of put out a search for a keyboard player, and I found Michaela, who is like lives less than a mile away from me, so that was kind of serendipity. And then our bass player was a buddy I knew from a different band, and we had kind of collaborated on different things. So just kind of through different musical connections in past bands, through the music scene in Fort Collins over the last however many years I've been doing this. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
What is the song Yellow Lines about? I gave it a listen. I think it's really cool. It's folky and whatnot, but we'll get into the music about it and music, how you make the music and all that jazz in just a bit. But what is the
Sure.
song about?
Yeah, it's a song I actually wrote quite a while ago, but it comes from a personal story where I went on a road trip with an old girlfriend of mine. We drove from Bozeman, Montana to Spokane, Washington, and there we broke up. And then we rode back in the car together. She was driving, so we rode back in the car together for 5 hours in pretty much silence. The song kind of reflects on that trip and the feelings of that, and it just talking about a little bit, any relationship that you're in, how you have kind of a part of the person that stays with you for a very long time. And so that's kind of what the lyrics are referring to there.
That's the first single from the upcoming album. And when's the album due?
So this is just a single that we're releasing. We have kind of a full EP album, not with Yellow Lines, but just a different album that we're hoping to complete
Mhm.
this year. But Yellow Lines was just a single that we released this time. We've got just a handful of singles out so far.
Okay, great. The song itself is very melodic. What instruments did the band use in on the track itself?
Yeah, it's mainly electric guitars. I think there's three or four different electric guitar parts there. Michaela's keys, which are piano and an electric piano
Mhm.
in there, and then bass and drums. So pretty basic.
Yeah, it all came together very well. How does the songwriting come together?
How does Yeah, for the most part, I do most of the songwriting myself. I compose pretty much in Ableton, writing parts and fleshing things out. The one thing I can't really do is drums, so I use some plugins for that, but then bring it to the band and we start kind of shaping it up into what are all the solidified electric guitar parts, vocals. Our lead guitarist is actually was a vocal jazz student at UNC here, which is University of Northern Colorado, and they have a really good jazz music program. So they help us with doing all of our musical arrangements and harmonies and things like that, which is really great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think the indie folk rock scene is making a comeback or is growing for that matter? You guys kind of remind me of a little bit of Mount Joy. Have you heard of Mount Joy?
I haven't.
You
Have you,
haven't, but
Kayla?
Michaela has.
Yeah, I love Mountjoy. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, that's what you guys kind of the sound that you're going for that reminds me of anyways. But what do you think of the folk rock scene right now?
Yeah, it's funny. I rarely change what I'm doing to try and be what's current. I've been around for a long time, but I have, we talk about how Kites and Lightning is a bunch of us old folk rock guys trying to rediscovering electricity. So during the pandemic, I got really into messing around with Ableton, which opened up a whole new bunch of electric sounds and different things like that, experimenting more with that. So Colorado is a really big folk rock, Americana, bluegrass environment. A lot of mountain rock, a lot of mandolins and acoustic guitars. But and then it seems to be a pretty heavy metal scene. I think we have a pretty good indie folk, indie rock, but what's the guy, Rick Beato or whatever? I remember watching something that where he said like um kind of folk rock, indie rock seems to be making a comeback over R&B or whatever. But
I hope
you know,
so.
yeah. Well, I like all different types of music as long as it's done well. But I don't know, Michaela, do you have any thoughts about the scene? We have a great music scene here in Colorado, and there's definitely a lot of great indie folk, indie rock bands here.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think not only making a comeback, but like is sort of like iterating on itself and like creating these like sub genres of folk rock, right? So you have like all these different sort of like streams coming out of like the idea of folk rock, and I think it's an exciting time to be playing music for sure.
Yeah, because right now I think the scene is just saturated with the mainstream anyways, is saturated with, hip hop and like you said, R&B and pop. I'm kind of
Mhm.
over it at this at this point.
Sure, sure. There's so much music out there. I don't know how you do it. So
Right. Okay, so we touched base on the Colorado music scene. Did you listen, what are you listening to right now? And was there anything in prep for the EP, upcoming EP that you listened to?
I would say the EP that I'm working on is it's funny. It's going to be called Melodicy, and it's a bunch of songs based on the Odyssey, which is nothing new. But I would say it's going to have more of a kind of a Radiohead feel to it. A
Awesome.
little bit more, some more electronic drums, different synthesizers, and kind of that kind of vibe. Obviously, Radiohead's not new, but there are a lot of iterations, I think, of bands, influenced by Radiohead.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, as far as what we're listening to right now, um, oh my gosh, I've been big into the National, Arcade Fire lately. I'm a big Sufjan fan.
Nice.
um yeah, I mean there's a lot of, and Fort Collins had, like I said, they have a good scene as well, so there's a lot of just local stuff that's good to listen to, so.
Right. What about you, Michaela?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of the same stuff. I really love like Nathaniel Rateliff is out of Colorado as well, and he's doing some great things in rock as well right now. I love listening to the Decemberists and bands that are more bluegrassy like Trampled by Turtles that have more of like a kind of a rock vibe, and mood to their music as well. But yeah, a lot of the same things that Ben listens to.
I never heard of Trouble by Turtles, but I'm gonna check them out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely do.
they're in the bluegrass genre, but they're a lot more indie I would say, in their songwriting. They have really good songs.
I see.
Yeah.
Great. Is the song Yellow Lines indicative of what the album will sound like? And is there going to be is there another release on the horizon for this EP?
For sure. So I think Yellow Lines is a fair estimation of what our sound is. We really do range between a lot of acoustic instruments.
Mhm.
Um, we have banjos in the band, we have mandolin, uh, but the EP that's coming out will be more heavily, like I said, electronic drums, electric guitars, probably similar vocal sound and feel, but I think maybe a little less poppy, and like I said, a little more bit more interesting, I think, geared towards, kind of like Radiohead, where you're going for kind of a certain sound there. um there's a whole bunch of songs that we're working on that are in the bag that are probably more similar to Yellow Lines. So even though we release it as a single, it may end up on an album with more similar songs.
Got it. Well, I can't wait to hear it. The full EP.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
What's next for you guys? Are you guys gonna go on a tour, or are you gonna go on a national tour at all, or Can stick around.
Yeah. So the main objective I think for our band is to, write good songs, record them, put them out, be a part of the music scene here in Fort Collins and in Northern Colorado. It's really a great music scene. We have a big festival coming up called FOCO MX, which is Fort Collins Music Experiment. One guy that I talked to from Austin said it reminded him of like the early South by Southwest festivals before it got so huge. So we have 300 or 400 local bands that participate in that festival. So it's really a great music scene. There's a wealth of talent here. So we're just enjoying starting to play out here in the local scene, try and do some festivals like that. I'm not really sure about a tour. Michaela has younger kids. My kids are a little bit older. None of the other band members have kids. We've got some younger band members too, but we're not out there trying to like make it big. We got 9 to 5 jobs. We're just enjoying making music and just focusing on being part of a good music scene.
Yeah, doesn't everybody have a 9 to 5 job these days, anyways?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to make it.
Right, right. I agree. Especially on my end too, as a music journalist, it's just tough yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, well, I would love to see you guys live one of these days. If I'm ever in Colorado, I will definitely check you guys out.
Yeah, hit us up. Yep.
But I'm in New York, obviously. So if you're ever in New York, check me out.
For sure. Or do you have an office that you operate out of, or you operate out of your home? Or?
Out of here, my studio apartment.
Yep. Yep. That's cool. I'm sitting in my home studio right now. So
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
absolutely.
Yes, and
Thanks,
I will
Robert.
be seeing you on hopefully social media and Groover.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. All right.
Thank you again.
Take care.
All right, you too.